Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I think one of the most interesting industries that's been on a growth pattern for the last couple decades is, well, if you want to call it alternative medicine, if you want to call it complementary medicine, and, well, the amount of quackery it is filled with. Now, I'm not saying all those medicines are bad. Quite the opposite. They can be very good. But we're going to get into that in just a little bit. Complementary medicines. Let's define this as stuff most doctors wouldn't prescribe to you because it hasn't gone through any testing or been approved. Now, it can be marketed as a supplement. It can be marketed as all sorts of things, but they cannot say it is medicine, and they can't make a claim on it that says if you take this stuff, you will get better. The most modern example that I can think of is the recent decriminalization of pot and CBD oil and all that sort of stuff. Now, medically speaking, there haven't been a whole lot of studies done on the long-term effects of marijuana or any of its byproducts. As a matter of fact, the only ones that exist seem to indicate that long-term consumption leaves you with some slight cognitive impairment. Now, this you have to understand when government does studies, they have to note every single possible side effect, and so do the companies. So if they gave it to 100 person and one person had an upset tummy, it doesn't matter that they were out at KFC eating those double downs and a whole bucket of chicken the day before. They have to write it down. And this is one of the things, it's a strength and it's a weakness in our system. So when they start evaluating alternative alternative medicine, they have to do the same thing. And they have to take measurements to see whether it's effective. Now, effective means most people have to get some sort of benefit out of it. In the case of marijuana, it's an appetite stimulant, which means you'll feel hungry, which anybody who went through university knows that side effect. After a joint or two, you're like, hey, let's order a pizza. And that pizza is gone. So it stimulates appetite. It does make you feel less pain because you're feeling less pain overall. So it can be complementary to whatever pain regimen you're using. It can even replace it. Pain is purely personal. It's tough for me to say this is going to work for you or anybody else. Even medical doctors will be the same way. So the important thing that we have to remember is it's complementary. It's to be used with whatever you have. There's lots of things. I'm going to pick on box floral remedies because I love to pick on them because I use box floral remedies. Essentially what it is, it's an extremely small amount of flower petals, kind of juiced up, and then put in with about 30% brandy. I used to love this because I could take it to work and have a little pip of brandy every once in a while. Now, they give you an eyedropper with this thing and you use that to put it on there. It just amused me to take it. And you know what? It did no harm. Remember that part about the Hippocratic Oath? Doctors first must do no harm. And when you're taking care of yourself, you deserve the same professional care that doctors do. So make sure you're not doing harm to yourself. Liquor, for example, might be considered complementary, and it pains me to say this because I do enjoy, a nice stiff belt of scotch once in a while or a nice beer to relax on the weekend, but it's not medicinal. It's just me chilling out after a long time. Other people, like Winston Churchill, went on to 80, 90 years old, and there was virtually nothing wrong with him aside from his obesity and smoking and drinking, all that sort of stuff. So it was doing him no harm. And let's be honest, it was the 30s, 40s, and 50s. The doctors then were prescribing methamphetamines as a weight loss drug. And I put that in quotes. Because as everybody who's ever watched a daytime talk show knows, methamphetamines is actually a very effective weight loss drug and teeth loss drug and organ failure drug. So you could possibly get a prescription from a very shady doctor, but it's illegal for a reason. And it's probably best if we keep it that way. Now, you notice the first three things I said. Some people are going to disagree with all of them, and I accept that. Your opinion is always valid. It's your opinion, as long as you're not projecting it onto other people. Because, like I said, pain is purely personal. We don't know which pain endings get lit up in your brain and how intensely they get lit up. And I don't think we can really do that aside from a CRT scan. Is it an MRI? You know, the one they shove you in the big tube and leave you in there. My favorite story about that. Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Mankind, whatever you want to call him, the hardcore wrestler that was in death matches and buried alive matches and stuff like that. He figured he'd just go to sleep. They shoved him in the MRI chamber and did the only thing a hardcore legend could do. He hit the button and screamed like a little boy to be let out. So yes, but the difference is MRI is established. They have so many cases that while it may once in a while not return everything perfect, maybe it wasn't calibrated, maybe a machine's getting older, there's a lot of reasons, but it's considered mainstream medicine because we have a measurable amount of time, measurable amount of results that we can get, say, hey, these patients, we all got, there's like no good, we all proved that they were not afflicted by any sort of, you can't measure concussions. I'm trying not to use the C word, okay? Just let's try not to use that for one day. But yeah, this is measurable science. We know that when, what was I reading about the other day? Heat stroke. Did you know that they give diazepam and lorazepam to people with heat stroke? It's to prevent them from trembling. I found that interesting because that's a Schedule A drug. And they really keep close track of what you're doing with that. But it has a use to stop you from trembling and maybe let you drink some extra water or be able to calm down. Because I can tell you, from personal experience, heat stroke, which I suffered last week, or at least I was right on the border of going down off the cliff, it is not fun. It is, no, there's, I can't even imagine being stuck in a desert and needing water so badly that you start to get heat stroke. That's a world of hell that I can't believe. The guy who runs Infowars.com, because I'm not even sure if I can use his name at present without triggering somebody, he sold a bunch of health supplements, and for a while I was wondering if that was where his primary income was, because this is back before he went down his Sandy Hook nonsense, and he was actually entertaining to listen to. But his wife left him, and I think he was trying to just raise the shock jock mentality wherever he was going so he could say, hey, and I remember the day that he said that, like, this is not going to go well, and I tuned him out from there. But he had super male vitality. Now, what image does that conjure up in your mind? Well, he's trying to promote it as though it's some sort of like dietary strength supplement, but we know what he's meaning by vitality, you know, trying to say, hey, you take this stuff, you're going to be a real macho man. You're not just going to need to lift weights, you're going to slam those weights. And when you get into bed, you're going to slam that bed. Yeah. Now, he has other sources of income, but it makes me wonder, most of these supplements, how they get on the market. And there's new ones every day. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, you're on any social media, Sooner or later, someone's going to try to advertise to you, hey, take this stuff that I make in my garage with the help of my three friends, and you'll wind up giving me $30 a month because you think it makes you better. And a lot of the times it is psychosomatic. It's, I don't want to say purely in your mind, but the same token, it gives you the idea that you're getting better. And that can be immensely helpful for a number of people. I don't want to say the placebo effect because that sounds very dismissive. But your mind has such an incredible control over your body. Even now, they're starting to say people who wear glasses, there's nothing wrong with their eyes. It's your brain is not calibrated correctly. Now, I don't understand this. I haven't read the article. I've heard about it a couple times. And they're now peddling this new technique where you readjust your brain and your vision comes back. Okay, maybe. Show me the scientific studies. And if not, show me what you're doing that's different from everybody else. I'm a little bit leery of it. I'm already half blind in one eye. Don't need to make it any worse. And in a lot of ways, it's like the Old West, where somebody would come by peddling their snake oil, put some planted audience members out there, and try to sell as much as they could, and then move on to the next town. And whatever was in there was probably either pure morphine or ditch water or whatever the heck was in that day. And that's why some of us feel that these alternative or complementary medicines, whatever you want to call it, are being unfairly regulated. But we don't need to look too far in the past when doctors were giving people amphetamines for them to have weight loss and it's for extra energy. World War II, they gave the front lines of the German soldiers got amphetamines. That way they could keep going without sleeping, and it was even called Panzer Chocolate. My German's horrible. Don't ask me. But yeah, we are less than 100 years removed from that, and in some cases less than 50 years. And indeed, that's always been the idea behind the weight loss drugs. When they're marketed as supplements, they probably don't contain methamphetamines anymore, but the idea is to ramp the system up so that way you're expending extra energy, and if you're expending extra energy, then you know what? You're going to lose weight. Because it's a simple question of calories taken in over calories burned. That will never change. If you want to lose weight, you change that equation. Either you increase the calories burned or decrease the calories taken in. Life is that simple. And it's hard. I admit, 2:30 in the morning last night, I woke up and I felt hungry as you know what. But I was able to find a station that was relaxing. I listened into that and I didn't have to eat till this morning when I ate 2 bagels. So did I save myself anything by torturing myself last night? No, ultimately I didn't. But what I did was I delayed the hunger until my body actually needed that. Didn't take any magical drugs or supplements or anything like that. I just stayed true to the basic formula. That would technically be complementary medicine because I didn't have a dietitian or somebody measure all that sort of stuff out. I just did what I knew was right. I have experimented with complementary alternative medicine, and my doctor has been very cooperative, and the naturopath I used to go to was very cooperative. They would go back and forth because my doctor just wanted to see, is it harmful? Let's take acupuncture as an example. Acupuncture, the only time I had a problem with acupuncture, and I'm not mad at anybody for this could have happened to anybody. I was lying down in this thing, I don't know what to call it. It's like a sofa with a place for you to stick your face through. And they put like 100 needles in your back, and then they usually turn the lights down, put some calming music on, and go out of the room. Then they're gone for 15 minutes, whatever. I don't know. I'm facing straight down. Today, I imagine I could bring a cell phone and watch some videos or listen to them or something, but this was back more towards 2010. Like I said, it was very good. It was very relaxing. Was it doing me any good? I would say yes. For the first hour or two I came out of there, I was incredibly relaxed. I was incredibly joyous. But then the day came where the same naturopath that I'd been working for, she stuck the needles in, went out, and she was gone for a good 10 minutes. I'm sure she went next door, had a cup of tea, made sure nothing was going wrong. And for some reason, I got a back twitch. And that back twitch got worse and worse. And imagine having a muscle twitch with needles injected very close to that muscle. Well, I held on like a champion, and when she came in, I was like, "Can you please remove the needles in my below my right shoulder?" She said, "Oh, is there a problem?" She doesn't know where my muscle is twitching. And I'm like, "Yeah, there's a problem. I'm having a little bit of a muscle spasm." And then she looked. I couldn't see her eyes, but I could hear her do the inhale. And then she started pulling those needles really, really quick. So I would always recommend acupuncture. I'd even recommend the same practitioner, although she's no longer in that line of business for reasons I won't even attempt to guess at, but it involved her moving out and doing all sorts of things. So I didn't know whether she got better in her life, whether she had to take care of family, whatever it is, but the same token, I have no ill will towards her. She gave me the choice, I took it, and it worked out well for the most part. But somebody else, I can understand why they'd stop at like 60 or 70 needles. And I don't begrudge them that. Again, pain is purely personal. I didn't find a lot of pain, but I'm one of those people that can go through a lot of pain as well. So think of all these medical marvels as complementary, something that will add to your healing process. And most especially, make sure you at least get one doctor to look at them and say, yes, no, maybe so, because they're the ones that went to school and they're going to spy anything out. Ooh, this ingredient conflicts with this other ingredient in the pills that I've given you, and you really shouldn't take them together. Hey, that's why you go to a doctor, is to find those things. That's why I get cranky with pharmacists. Do you know this drug has this interaction? Yes, I've been taking it for 10 years. Shut up. I'm nicer. But I expect them to say that. And there's another good show for later. And with that, I think you've got the point of the story where alternative and complementary medicines are best employed together with conventional therapy. If you like that, we hope you drop a like on this story. Share, because sharing is caring. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Don't forget to click the notification icon, whether it's a bell or whatever else you might see on your device. And we hope you have a fantastic day.